And he's like, I can't really tell. We're so enclosed of each other that it could be any of those guys. It's almost as if, and then Yusuke has a great line. It's almost as if you're trying to find a fart in an elevator, because it could be anyone's fart, chat. Because we're all in an enclosed environment. He's like, yeah, it is just like a fart. Hello, I just wanted to thank you for clicking on my video, and I wanted to let you know not only do I create content in my YouTube channel here, Class in a Glass, but I'm also on Twitch where I play single-player games, multiplayer games, I do movie reviews, cartoon reviews, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Also, it would be a big help if you can check out my Patreon, where you can gain access to audio commentaries, reactions, and the ability to submit questions for my podcasts and videocasts. And all that content can be found in the links below. In the meantime, enjoy the video. We're gonna go ahead and jump into Yu Yu Hakusho episode 10, chat. Just give you a brief recap in case you forgot. Yusuke, KUWABARA, they are seeking out good old Aunt May, chat. Genkai, good old Genkai, chat. She's an elderly psychic warrior woman, and she's like, I'm going to die soon, Yusuke. And she needs to teach her abilities to someone before she dies, okay? And Yusuke is on this mission both to learn these abilities and also to root out the demon Rando, who I've affectionately named Randy, chat. And I'm sure it's totally not that little bald-headed guy, Krillin, or Shino, or Shiro, what the hell his name is, chat. It's definitely not him. It's definitely not that guy. I'm totally sure. But we don't know. Shorin, that's his name. I forgot that. It doesn't matter. It's Randy. We all know it's Randy, chat. But let's go ahead and start. So we have Yusuke, we got KUWABARA, we got the Nazi guy, we have green-haired man, a couple other characters that are just gonna die in this episode. It doesn't matter, chat. And they're walking of little Genkai up to this temple, and Yusuke, he's looking around, he's like, yeah, none of these guys look like demons. I mean, you literally have a ninja with a swastika in his head. I'd be like, well, he's like, that's a little too much. I mean, I'm sure he's a racist piece of shit, you know, but that's a little too much on the nose. I think, you know, Randy's playing a little more subtle. But eventually they get up to the entrance of the temple. And Genkai's like, all right, everybody, and she's smoking cigarettes by this point. She's like, I don't give a fuck anymore. And so they open the doors, and it's completely dark inside. There's like a couple of torches in the entrance, and outside of that, it's just darkness. Just everything's covered in thick darkness, chat. It's like at least 3 C's thick of darkness. And the guys are like, well, what is this? Why is it so dark in here? What's going on, Genkai? She's like, all right, listen, you fucks. At this point, anything goes. Anything goes. Anything goes at this point. I'm going to pair you off into twos, and you're going to fight each other in the darkness. But then everyone's asking questions like, wait a minute, we're going to fight. How can we see each other? And she's like, oh, fucking shit, you're dumb. You got to rely on your spirit energy. So sense the person's spirit energy and kill them. You can either kill them or you can incapacitate them until they just can't fight anymore. But knowing these guys are all a bunch of assassins and hitmen and, you know, and high schoolers, they want to kill each other, chat. And at this point, he's like, all right, I'm going to go ahead and draw lots. And these fucking these arrows come out of nowhere, chat. It's like, who fired off those arrows? And they all pick lots, and they're all, you know, paired up with the fighter. The thing is, though, KUWABARA, he starts all of a sudden, he's very, I love KUWABARA, he's great. He's a hothead, but he seems to mean really well. And he's like, okay, I sense something weird. I sense like an evil among us. And because Yusuke doesn't sense it, and he's like, KUWABARA, you sense something? He's like, yeah, it's almost like from that forest where they fought Buldark the Bat. It's like something followed us in here. It's really evil. And Yusuke's asking him, like, oh, of these people, do you know who it is? And he's like, I can't really tell. We're so enclosed of each other that it could be any of those guys. It's almost as if, and then Yusuke has a great line, it's almost as if you're trying to find a fart in an elevator. Because it could be anyone's fart, chat, because we're all in an enclosed environment. He's like, yeah, it is just like a fart. And so at this point, they all start looking at the fighters and like, well, it definitely can't be Shorin. I mean, he's just too fucking polite to be an evil, murderous demon who's soul-sucking, kids and stuff. So it's definitely not, he's not Randy. No question. But they do the matches of the tournament, and the first battle is between the ninja Nazi and this contract killer who literally I'm like, I didn't see him in any of the previous episodes. I'm like, oh, that guy's fucking dead. Because they gave a lot of screen time for the ninja Nazi and nothing for this random contract hitman killer. And he's like, I have a turtleneck and it's black. And I'm like, ooh, I'm mysterious. And the hitman's talking a lot of shit at this point too, because he's like, just so I know specifically, Genkai, I can kill my opponent. I don't need to hold back. She's like, you can do whatever you want. And she says you can use any weapons you brought with you, you can also use in the battle. And so the contract, I was like, I would have had a gun. I'd be like, all right, bam, and just kill him. But he's like, I have knives. And the Nazi ninja, he's like, I'm just going to use the power of Nazism and Kung Fu. And he's like, all right, cool. And so they march into the middle of the temple. It's completely dark, and we can't see anything. They start battling at this point, and Yusuke's like, I can't see anything. But KUWABARA says, I can see them. KUWABARA's he's so in tune with his spirit energy, chat, that he can actually see the battle as they're going back and forth and stuff. It's like, wow, good for fucking KUWABARA, chat. He always had that sense for ghosts, which helped out in those earlier episodes trying to get Yusuke back in his body. Remember that, chat? But they start battling. And then all of a sudden, it looks like fucking KUWABARA was saying, like, the hitman seems to be pushing back the ninja Nazi. But then all of a sudden, chat, fucking ninja Nazi unleashed a spirit bane attack. He does like the same spirit gun maneuver that Yusuke does, except it's kind of like a kamehameha, and he just blasts. The hitman just explodes, and they're covered in blood and viscera, and they're like, oh my god, it's horrible. He walks out. And he sits down. Yusuke's like, this can't be real. How did he use the finger bang attack? Only I could do that. And all of a sudden he hears Botan. She's like, I could explain outside, Yusuke. And he just runs outside the temple, and Botan is there. He's like, Botan, what are you doing here? She's like, I'm gonna explain to you what's going on. So all of these spirit warriors, they all have their various abilities, and so he has a finger bang spirit gun attack like yours, and he channels it through his body, but he's more in tune with his spirit energy, Yusuke, okay? And I guess Nazism. And so he's able to use the attack multiple times, but it does drain him, or you can only use it once, and you're fucking spent. He's like, oh, geez. And then KUWABARA runs out. He's like, hey, what are you guys doing? And he sees Botan. He's like, listen. Fucking KUWABARA he's got Kaiko's back, your good old Kiko's back, got her back. He's like, why are you hanging out with this girl, Yusuke? Isn't Kiko your girlfriend? That's not very appropriate. You're a bad boyfriend. It's like, yeah, man, yeah, goddamn right. And then Botan's like, oh, KUWABARA, no, I'm just Yusuke's friend. I'm just telling him about, the spirit detective duties. And Yusuke's like, what are you doing, Botan? He's like, he should know. And they just unload all this exposition information on KUWABARA, who's a spirit detective, demons, there's a murderer around us? What? And he's like, he can't believe it. But he just can't keep his eyes off Botan, Chad, because she's kind of a cutie patootie. And then afterwards, he's like, Botan, I just wanted to say, and he takes her hand. She's like, and he's like, will you marry me? And she's like, no. And I'm like, I don't know. He ain't blind, Chad, because Botan's a good-looking lady. But then he finds out that she's the Grim Reaper. He's like, I don't care. You can reap me any day, Botan. And I'm like, do they hook up later on in the series? Does that happen? Because KUWABARA, he seems like a really good guy. I want to make sure that he gets something at the end. I imagine Kiko and Yusuke, they'll do their thing. But I hope KUWABARA and Botan hook up. Shit, that'd be nice for them. KUWABARA just seems like he's going to get a lot of shit forced upon him. Oh, he gets another love interest later? Okay, that's fine. I'll take that, chat. Kind of hard to date death itself, chat. So that's fair. Jason, thank you for the 10 minis. But eventually, when he's, proposing to Botan, Genkai, she just throws her lit cigarette on the shoulder of KUWABARA and lights him on fire. He's like, And he's like, he puts it out. She's like, what are you doing out here? You'll all be disqualified. Get back inside. And, Botan's like, oh, I'm sorry, ma'am. I'm the Grim Reaper. She's like, I know who you are. I've been running from you for many a decade. And so they all get back inside. And eventually, The next match is between Shorin, who's totally not Randy the Demon, chat, and this fat guy we've never met before. And so they do their thing, and Fatty is killed. And Shorin's like, that was a really hard match. You almost got me. And also, Baby Jesus has been watching this entire match, chat, and we cut back to Baby Jesus, and he's like, that Shorin guy is way too humble for his own good. He's way too modest. I think he's hiding something. You might be right, Baby Jesus. Eventually, though, we then get the next match is between KUWABARA and this samurai guy, chat. But KUWABARA, he feels a little confident. He's like, well, I can actually see in the dark, so this will be good for me because he's really in tune with his spirit energy. And so they go ahead and they walk out, and he's like, all right, you ready, samurai? He's like, oh. Let's go. And KUWABARA runs at him at this point, but the samurai just disappears, and KUWABARA can't see him. He's like, whoa, where'd you go? And the samurai is he's able to do, he's able to mask his spirit energy. Okay, so then KUWABARA can't find him in the dark. And so the samurai just starts kicking the shit out of him. The thing is, though, KUWABARA, he's gotten his ass kicked so many times back in the day. I mean, Yusuke's kicked his butt a lot of times, chat, so he can take a lot of damage. He's got a high defense, chat, so he gets up. And the samurai is like, I'm going to give you this opportunity to give up. Okay, you can give up here right now, and I won't have to kill you. KUWABARA's like, I never give up. I have to fight for justice. And he's like, all right. And so then the samurai man pulls out this, I thought, it's a samurai sword. Okay, no, it's a wooden sword, but he explains to KUWABARA, this is a wooden sword, and it's made from this ceremonial tree, and it's imbued with spirit energy, and it can fight evil demons and vanquish all injustice. And KUWABARA's like, I'm not evil, which is a great fucking line. I'm not evil. And then the samurai just starts thwacking and hitting poor KUWABARA with the wooden stick from the ceremonial tree that can vanquish evil, chat. But KUWABARA, as we know, is not evil. So eventually, as this guy just keeps hitting with him, the sword just breaks. The sword, part of the tip of the sword just breaks and it falls. And the guy's like, impossible. How? He's like, I'm really hard-headed. Also, I'm not evil. But this guy's like, oh, I'll just have to beat you the old-fashioned way. And then he masks his spirit energy. But then KUWABARA picks up the piece of the wooden sword that broke off. He's like, oh, if only it was a little longer, I could defend myself. And the samurai pops out from above him and jumps at him like, oh, and KUWABARA's like, oh. And then all of a sudden, chat, KUWABARA gets a lightsaber, chat. He gets like an orange-yellow lightsaber. Everyone's like, whoa, that's intense. Because a giant jet of electricity and flame shoots out of the goddamn sword, chat, and he blocks it. And everyone's like, what the hell is that? And Botan explains it's Genkai. Because Genkai, we go inside the mind of Genkai, and she's like, that's incredible. He's so in tune with his spirit energy. He just needed a magical object to siphon the energy through. And he has created the spirit sword, a very powerful weapon. And that's what this episode is called, chat. KUWABARA's spirit sword. It's not his penis. It's his spirit sword, chat. And so then KUWABARA's like, whoa, and he just hits the guy with it, and he sends him flying, shit. He skids against the ground like, and he just really just like destroys part of the ring, chat. And I don't think he kills him. He just knocks him the fuck out. Knocks him the fuck out, chat. And KUWABARA comes back. He's like, I did it, guys. And even Yusuke is like, all right, that's good. I mean, we still got to fight, though. KUWABARA's like, and I can't wait for it, Urameshi. And then we get the next battle. Which is Yusuke versus the green-haired guy we've seen the last several episodes. And Botan is like, listen, Yusuke, just be careful. We don't know too much about this guy. He's like, I got it. And he's like, all right, Grandma, I'm going to show you how it's done. And Grandma's like, you're an asshole, Yusuke. He's like, yeah, I know what I am. And so they walk out in the ring. And then, Yusuke, he takes his position. He's fucking ready. But then the green-haired guy pulls this fucking helmet out of his ass. He must have been carrying it between his cheeks, chat, because he puts this helmet on. It looks like, Gray Fox from Metal Gear Solid 1, and it's got this like little cyclops, this red eye, and Yusuke's like, what the fuck is that? How'd you get that? And the guy explains, I made this helmet. And it's very weird how he describes it. What it does is it cuts off all of my senses, And all of he mentions like his internal organ senses. I'm like, what the fuck is it? Internal organ senses? I don't like, you just gonna start shitting yourself when you put this helmet on? I don't know. But what it does is it focuses all the spirit energy into my head so then I can see you constantly. And Yusuke's like, shit! And so this guy just starts jumping around. He knows where Yusuke is all the time and just starts beating the shit out of him. Yusuke's able to block a couple of the blows because he can sense him when he gets close, but he can't see him like KUWABARA does. I mean, it's getting rough. It's getting rough for Yusuke. He's doing some strategic retreating, chat. But then, the fucking green hair guy's like, all right, enough of this shit. And he starts doing like a Dragon Ball Z power-up where it takes him like a couple minutes. And apparently we learn that this is a matter energy absorption, where he's literally taking the energy from matter, okay, and putting it into his muscles, and so he gets this big, like, right-handed jerk-off arm. It looks like he just jerks off of it constantly, and it's like, just it's huge. It's so swollen. It's like, are those tumors? I don't know. It looked weird. But then he just starts, and he literally, as he's running towards Yusuke, he says, big arm bomber attack! And it's like, oh! And Yusuke, he's like, he doesn't know how to block it, chat. What will happen next time on Yu Yu Hakusho episode 10? I don't know. I imagine he'll beat him, and then they'll find out Shiro is Randy, chat. That's just what I think. But we'll have to wait until next time, chat. Next week on Yu Yu Hakusho. And that, my friends, is my scene by scene by scene breakdown for Yu Yu Hakusho. Yeah, it also says, no, to be continued. Man, there's a couple of to be continueds tonight. Even Batman Made Series is a two-parter, chat. I'm only going to be doing part 1 tonight, but I'll be doing part 2 shortly. I think this episode is some BS, but that's just me. I'm interested to see what it's going to be like. How is he going to beat this guy? What's Yusuke going to pull out of his ass? And this guy pulled a whole fucking Cyclops helmet out of his ass. Very curious. But now, my friends, got them spirit roids, very much so. He's got to absorb energy matter. That's all you got to do.